Good morning. Happy May 22nd, 2019. Thank you so much for joining me on today's broadcast. This is Wednesday. I still have the same background as yesterday. Not some kind of nerd. King of the nerd, apparently. That's what my wife would like to think. Oh, look at that. I forgot to move my green screen all the way over. Riveting TV right here. All right. There we go. Now you guys can't see the color of my carpet on my floor. All right. How's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are ready for a fantastic week and a fantastic Hump Tuesday, Hump Wednesday. My brain just took a dive right there off the high dive there. Happy Wednesday, Hump Day. And I hope you guys are ready for the rest of the week. We're kind of on the downhill slide, right? Like after today, it's all down into the weekend from here. One little bit of news I do need to give you guys is that for the week of the 3rd through the 7th, I will not be broadcasting. My wife and I are taking a small little vacation. I guess you could call it a vacation. I'm actually still going to be working. I just won't have access to my studio here. I'm going to be out on the road. I'm going to be down visiting some friends and family and doing some work down in Phoenix. So, I'm not going to be able to broadcast for that week, so I will try to set up some videos to, maybe we'll do one of those, here's 5 older ones, and we'll just kind of rebroadcast them, just to give you guys something to do at 7:30 in the mornings, right? So, yes, this is Coffee with Steve. Don't forget, Coffee with Steve. You do need to drink your coffee, because that's the only way that code gets generated. Without coffee, we don't write code, right? It's kind of hard to do much of anything in when you have to work. Even if you're not a coder, maybe you're, maybe you're a machinist. I have no idea what you do. Maybe you're a mechanic and you just like to listen to me drone on and about technology things. Anyway, so today's topic is kind of special. And it's kind of maybe a little bit outside of my comfort zone. It's not exactly something I would specialize in or have a whole heck of a lot to say about typically. And that is shopping. Shopping, yes, shopping. Now, the reason why this is special is because you guys can all blame my wife if this goes off the rails, because this was her topic idea, and I am giving her full credit, but I give her full consequence too. So if you guys are going to give me the thumbs down, it's a thumbs down for my wife. I'm totally throwing her under the bus on this one. It's her choice. But no, actually, I talk to her all the time about, hey, babe, what do you think of for a topic idea? Because coming up with something to talk about every single day is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And typically, my go-to is just check the news, see what's going on, and find a couple articles, highlight them, and that sort of thing. And today's really not much of an exception, except we already had a topic that we wanted to discuss. So, what about shopping? Well, so my wife actually works in retail. She works for a company that's in clothing. I'm not going to say which one just because they don't pay me. I'm not sponsored by them, so I'm not going to tell who. But it's a bit more of a high-end fashion. It's not, it's not like, Tyra Banks is wearing their clothes or anything like that. It's not like supermodel fashion. But it is much more higher end, nicer clothes, kind of the stuff that, makes women feel pretty. Anyway, that's kind of her niche market. And she's really into it, right? She's really, really into the nicer, better clothes and what looks good and trying to find what looks good on women. And, I guess men could shop there too, but I don't think you're going to find much there unless, you're cross-dresser. I don't know. I'm sure that I don't think that she's ever told me a story about anyone that's come in that's been cross-dresser. Maybe she has. I don't know, but I'm sure that it probably happens. Because I know that I've been out at a driving range and a dude shows up in high heels and a dress. That's legitimately happened. And so guys have got to be shopping for those dresses somewhere, I guess. And it was a high-end dress, too. This was a high-fashion dress. He had pearl necklace and everything. The whole get-up. He trying to look pretty. Okay. So, and that's his choice. That's fine. It's his choice. It's a little weird, but who am I to judge, I guess, right? Okay, so what we are going to talk about, though, boy, we're already like 5 minutes into this broadcast, and Steve hasn't even gotten to the point. So when it comes to shopping habits, where are you shopping? Where are you going? What are you doing? Are you just going to Amazon? Are you going to eBay? Barnes & Noble? Is that even still a thing? Are you shopping for stuff online? Or are you going to the store? Are you still I got to go to the brick and mortar store. I got to go down to the store. I got to go buy my stuff there. And I'd say for my wife and I, we're probably around the 80% of what we buy is online. And that includes groceries. That includes groceries now, because we have, there's a lot of different services out there now where you could just like say, go shop at this store and go pick up these items. And the funny thing about that is I actually came up with that idea back in like the early 2000s. I had been like in about 2002, I even mentioned to my buddy, I'm like, hey, with this internet thing, what if we just provided a website where you can go and shop for groceries and have them delivered, right? And just get a little extra cash for that. Back then, logistically, it wasn't. I don't think stores were quite online with it. The plan I had was just basically, have. I mean, it's harder to keep track of what are the goods, right? There, because we weren't really quite in an e-commerce society at that point. We had eBay. I think eBay was a thing at that point, but it was very, very infancy. So there was no real like stores weren't tracking what their groceries were, right? There was no API to tie into to see what their groceries were that they were offering. So that logistically alone was kind of not capable, but I know I had the idea, right? I had the idea long before we saw these things, and maybe somebody else had the idea too. I'm not going to claim like I was the first. I really wasn't, probably, but I remember thinking this, like, wouldn't it be great if I could buy my groceries online and just have them delivered? Because that's probably, for most of us, that is the main source of shopping, right? When we go shopping, that's primarily what we're going to buy is groceries. Sometimes we go out and we buy other wares, like we buy, electronics, or we buy clothes. And that's, what's funny is I remember going down. So my wife works in this like outdoors mall, and she's at the end of it. And if you walk up and down this mall, it's a pretty big mall. It's one of the larger malls here. I think it is the largest mall here. But if you go and you walk it, it's kind of funny because it's kind of the same things. It's like every store is one of two things. They're either selling clothes or they're selling like antique knickknacks. Like that's it. Like you got knickknacks with a bunch of like, this is something that you want to buy to put around your house, or it's clothes. And if you think about it, it's kind of like, well, those are the only two things that the online is not totally taken over. Right? If you think about what you're buying, are you buying knickknacks? Maybe. You might go on Amazon. Typically, it's like, if I'm going to go buy a knickknack online, it's usually for a birthday or Christmas or something like that, right? And I'm buying it for someone else. Like, I don't really know what to get them. I got this nice wide selection online that I can go kind of find a knickknack and go pick something out and send that out, because I'm trying to match something to the personality of whoever it is that I'm buying for, right? And, my wife is pretty simple, just jewelry. Like, just get something that has bling, right? Something that shines. That's pretty straightforward, but, I still try to find something that I think she'll like. She likes hearts and, little love stuff, because she wants me to be more of a romantic than I probably am. But, you buy the little trinkets and stuff. Typically, if you're doing it online, I think you don't buy it for yourself. You buy it for other people, at least for me, in my experience, right? But if you go shopping, it's funny how it's almost every single store is either selling you clothes or they're selling you knickknacks, right? There's like no other, what other stores are there? There's electronic stores, right? You can go to like a Best Buy But even Best Buy, I think, is doing the majority of their business online. Maybe not. Maybe not Best Buy specifically. Best Buy seems to be the only last holdout for electronics. I know in Phoenix we had 2 of the Fry's Electronics stores, which were amazing. I loved Fry's Electronics. Like a big giant, like think a Costco with just electronics, like just electronic stuff, like everything from home audio and stereo to car audio and stereo to computer components. You could build your own computer, right? Get capacitors and stuff. So they had, you could build your own systems. You could buy games. If you had Xbox or PlayStation or something, you could go buy a game, buy computers there, obviously, MP3 players, whatever you wanted, you could buy and that was a great experience. Like I still have fond memories of going to that place. It was like, my wife is dangerous in a clothing shop. I'm dangerous in a Fry's Electronics because that's where I'm going to spend my money. I love electronics. I love the gadgets. And I think a lot of guys are that way. We just love the gadgets. We love the technology that we get. So I did find a couple of articles on this just to kind of give some perspective on things, because what they're actually saying is that still people prefer to shop for, they're saying why consumers prefer to shop for nearly all products online. But there's also, from the same group, they also have another thing where it's like they're not really paying attention to their own articles, because they say why most shoppers still choose brick and mortar stores over e-commerce. But you just said in this article why consumers prefer to shop for nearly all products online. So which is it? And then what's funny is they cite the same survey for both headlines. We have 2 completely different headlines indicating the complete opposite of each other, and we're going to cite the same survey for it. And it's the same company. It's the same retail dive. Sandy Scaravan and Sandy Scrovan. So there's literally no excuse. I guess maybe what they're saying here is why consumers, this is why, these are the reasons why the people who do buy online, these are the reasons why they buy nearly everything online. I guess, that's a way to interpret it. But, man, if I'm just reading the headline, I'm thinking these are 2 completely different opinions about the same exact survey from the same exact author. Okay. Anyway, so, long live the brick and mortar store. The majority of American consumers still want the tactile experiences offered by physical stores. So we're still going to the store and buying, but I think, and I think the details of this also bear this out. The majority of the reason why, or the biggest impact on it is what you are buying, right? If you think about, are you going to buy a car online? I know there's a lot of car websites. I don't know anybody. I've never met a single person who's bought a car online. I know there's a bunch of websites, there was Auto Trader, I think was one big one. I don't know if they still are there, but who buys a car online? I know I certainly wouldn't. I got to go kick it. I got to go kick the tires, man. I got to go, what's that meme of the guy that smacks the sales guy that smacks the roof of the car. Anyway, I gotta see some of these products, depending upon the product, right? And my perceived value of that product. The higher or more expensive it is, the more likely I am to go and check it out. When it comes to computers, that's a good example. That's kind of an interesting one, because I know a lot of people that buy their computers online. They'll buy the parts for their computer online and then assemble it. And I could do that. I used to do that kind of thing. But I still prefer going to the store and looking at it and kind of getting that this is what it's going to be like. And I probably paid a little bit more for my computer that I'm currently broadcasting off of. I probably paid a little bit more at Best Buy because of that. Again, don't forget your coffee. Before I dig into this, let's see if we have any questions. Let's just pop in chat. Joy Bishop, that's my wife. Nobody make fun of her. Actually, famous people do wear our clothes. Yes, famous people do wear your clothes. That is true. I will give you that. It's not like Tyra Banks is on her high fashion show and wearing your clothes, though. She's more or less like, I'm just saying, it's not like the runway model kind of clothing. Okay, but yes, famous people do wear your clothes. You point it out to me all the time, and I love you, babe. I love you for it. Kent says, I like shopping online, then picking up at store. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so that's actually getting to something that's in the article that, wow, I have 7 people watching. 7 people actually want to listen to me talk about shopping. That's crazy. Babe, you did a good job. Okay, so what is it then? So Kent, you're talking about how like you like to shop online and then go pick up at the store. And that's one of the things that they're getting to is the reason why people still go to brick and mortar is because of the immediate gratification. I can just go pick it up right now. And that's great. That's kind of for guys. And what's really interesting is they break it down into like the reasons why men versus women prefer shopping in brick and mortar. So female shoppers overwhelmingly want to see, touch, and feel products before buying them, whereas males want the immediate satisfaction of taking items home with them. And this is kind of the battle. Like, this is the only, like, the last stronghold of the brick and mortar stores is I can go to the store, find what I want, and take it home same day. Right? Or if you're a female, and typically I think this has more to do with fashion, you want to try it on, you want to look at it, you want to feel it, you want to see what it's like. Like, just getting that experience online is not really possible. So the brick and mortar stores have this advantage of, at least for when it comes to what males are typically doing, right? Because the main thing is guys are looking for the instant satisfaction. Like, I want to. This, you think about when you go shopping with your wife or something, right? The comparative nature of guys shopping versus women shopping is women are like wandering around and inspecting everything and looking at everything, whereas guys were like, I know where I want to go. I'm going to go look at that. That's the thing I want. Grab it. Go to the checkout counter and take off, right? So for guys, it's like, give me that immediate gratification. Give me that. I need that thing. That's all I want to do. I don't want to waste my time in here. Just get that for me. And you can do that at a brick and mortar store. And to a certain extent, you can do that online. But then you have to wait a day or two or more before you get that thing that you bought. And that's kind of the reason why guys are still going to brick and mortar stores. Whereas for women, it's more about that tactile senses, right? I want to go see it. I want to go feel it. I want to go touch it. I want to go see it. I want to understand what I want to look at it and visualize it in my home, right? That kind of thing. Kent says, confide what I want in my PJs, then I don't have to deal with those who can't decide what they're looking for. Yeah. That's for me too. When it comes to online buying, I like the idea that I can like be laying in my bed in the morning and I realize I need to buy something and I just like flip on Amazon or someplace and start scrolling through, find the thing I want, find a good price, look at all the reviews and click buy, right? And that's another thing is the reviews. So this is another, for me, this is one of the main reasons why people are starting to turn more and more to online shopping is because you get the reviews. If you want to buy something from in store, you might have you might have a clerk there or somebody, a sales rep there that's going to like, you can ask them questions. But I think that we all have this suspicion about them. Like, are you just trying to sell this thing for me? Are you going to tell me all the great stuff, but not on any of the bad stuff? Because they have an incentive, obviously, to not get fired. They're going to try to get you to buy stuff. So that there's some inherent bias there, and it's kind of hard to get a good unbiased opinion while you're in the heat of the moment and you're thinking about what you're going to buy. Whereas online, it's like, I can go look at, 26 reviews. And that's a low number. Like sometimes there's thousands. So I can go check those out and see what the reviews are like, and I can kind of glance and see what people were saying were good or bad about it, and make a weighed decision because of that. You don't get that experience in the brick and mortar. And I think that's why a lot more people are starting to go more to an online experience. I think it would be great if businesses that were brick and mortar started to try to tap into that a little bit more. Like, I don't know how you could do it. I think there was one company that was thinking about doing like display screens on below products that were like running reviews of the products, which would be really cool, but that's really expensive, I think, for them to do that. But that's a cool idea. Like, you want to know more about this product? Here's, from our product webpage, you can see the reviews that people posted about this thing. I think that's really about the only way that you can get that same kind of experience in the brick and mortar, because the retail sales expert that comes to you and tries to get you to buy the thing, we already identify is going to be biased. We're going to take what they say with a grain of salt. Like, they could probably talk us into it, but we're still going to be like a little bit concerned about it. Also, younger and older generations. So, younger and older generations want to see or try products in stores more than their middle-aged counterparts. So it's, when you're younger or when you're older, you kind of want that more tactile sense, as opposed to middle-aged. We've got crap we got to do, right? Like, I got shit I got to do. I got to go. I'm not going to hang around here. 7% of respondents say online is the only way they shop. 7% of respondents. So that seems like an awfully low number. I think, in a way, I guess I'm probably part of that 93%, my wife and I, even though I'd say that the by and large overwhelming majority of what we do is definitely online. Oh, I'm only down to 5 viewers. Babe, I'm losing viewers. Okay. But yeah, only 7% of respondents said that it's the only way they shop online. I think if I would have taken this, I would have probably have said, yeah, it's the only way I buy. And then later on, I would have said, oh, wait, but all those times that I do go to the store. But yeah, even grocery shopping, we buy from online. It's just so much more convenient. I do think, again, it has to do with what it is that you're buying. The more perceived value that it has, the more likely you are to go see it in person. Like, are you going to buy a house online? It's, only a few hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are you going to buy that online just because of what the pictures say? Probably not, right? To see, touch, feel, and try out items is the top reason why consumers choose to shop in physical stores, with 62% of shoppers wanting to kick the tires. So 62% saying that they, the reason why they do it is because, they want to just kind of touch, try it, and feel it. And they have a graph down here of like the reasons for choosing to shop in stores versus online. So see, touch, feel, and try out items is 62%. Take items home immediately is 49%, mostly guys, I think. Return items more easily. That's an interesting one. So you can return items more easily because it's brick and mortar. That's kind of, I guess that's true. My wife is crying, apparently. She's doing the crying face emoji. Thanks, babe. I love you too. Enjoy in-store experiences. Yeah, I guess there's something to that. Like, you get displays and stuff, or just being able to wander around. That is something I do kind of miss about shopping in store, is just kind of the wandering around sometimes, and what is it? People watching, right? That's kind of an interesting to do. I remember, so here in my hometown, we used to have these 2 malls that were indoor malls. And, you would just kind of sit there and people watch. You'd go back and forth. It was indoors. And we're in a colder climate, so it makes sense to have indoor malls. And we would just kind of, go to one store, go sit out front for a while and, talk, and maybe go to the Orange Julius and go pick up one of those and drink it, and then go to the next store. And what's interesting is both of those indoor malls are now outdoor malls in a cold climate. For some reason. I don't know. there's certain logic. That to me is also not going to help out with if you're trying to figure out how you're going to do retail sales in brick and mortar stores, and you're in a cold climate, but you do everything outside. That's probably not the best way to go about it. Like, one of the reasons why we like those malls indoors was because we could stay out of the cold in the winter. Okay, so pose questions to store associates. I think that's an interesting one. People like to ask questions. And I only shop online is 7%. 2/3 or 66% of female shoppers say trying it out is a deciding factor for shopping in stores versus online. Again, I think that has a lot to do with its like apparel. They say think apparel and accessories or home furnishings is a likely driver. I think that's probably pretty accurate. Whereas the top reason given by males to still shop at brick and mortar is the instant gratification. A higher share of men, 54%, than women, 47%, say they're taking items home immediately is why they shop in stores versus online. So women are a little less motivated by being able to just go buy something and take it home immediately. That's more of a typical guy thing, I guess. And that makes sense. I think guys, again, you think about the typical shopping habits of men versus women. Women like to wander through the store and look at everything. And guys are like, I know what I want. I just need to pick which one of them, which brand I'm going to go with. You know, am I going to go for the cheaper one or am I going to go for the better one that's a little bit more expensive? The brand name. And that's what guys do. Reasons for choosing to shop in stores versus online by gender. So see, touch, feel, and try out items. Largely female. Guys do it too, though. But I think for different products, right? Like, again, I'm not going to go buy a home audio system, a home stereo system typically, unless I can go see it, because I want to know what it's going to look like in my home. I'm going to have to look at that thing every day for the rest of, my existence. I'd like to know what it looks like. I'm not just going to buy it online and just hope that it's the right size and matches all how it's going to fit in my home. Take items home immediately is more of a guy thing. Return items more easily, both about equal. Enjoy in-store experiences is about equal. Pose questions to store associates. It's interesting that guys like to do that more. I would think that would be the opposite. I would think that women like to ask more than guys do, but I guess the numbers bear that out. And I only shop online. Okay. So 8% of women say they only shop online. 7% of men say they only shop online. Compared to older shoppers, a higher percentage of younger shoppers say they shop in stores to take immediate possession of items. So again, this is the contrast between young and old, right? So older shoppers want to. Well, that's interesting. So compared with older shoppers, a higher percentage of younger shoppers say they shop in stores to take immediate possession of the item. So I guess that's that instant gratification that even the younger generation has. I just want to take it home. Whereas the older generation might have a little bit more patience. Could be. And here's like a breakdown by age. I'm not going to go over all that. You guys can check this out. I'll post the link to this in this article in the description after I post it up. Now, this is also, so rural shoppers more likely to go to stores, which makes sense. And I think that has more to do with logistics, right? Like, how long is it going to take for you to get something? If I go to the local store, I can get it right away. Whereas if I order it online, there's no guarantee that it's going to get to me in that 1 or 2 days. I think it's also a bit of the mentality. I've lived both in the city and more in a rural country, in a rural area. So I kind of understand both mentalities. I like the idea of when I was living in the city, there was certainly like more options of where to go shopping. But at the same time, it's like I have to fight the crowds. I got to find a parking spot. I got to deal with all these people. I got too many choices to really pick from that. If I go to the wrong store to buy that thing, then I got to go drive somewhere else. Whereas if you're rural, you've only got a few stores. You already know what's there and you know what the selection is. and you trust the people that are there. Typically, you trust you go to the guy at Ace Hardware, and Sam. He's been working there for 25 years. You and Sam can strike up a conversation, and you get that kind of interaction. You get that more of in a rural scenario. In a urban scenario, like, who's going to Ace Hardware and striking up a conversation with Sam, right? It's not really the kind of thing that you typically do. And it's just kind of the environment. It's just kind of a product of what's going on in that area. My wife says, depends on where you are going and buying for. If a guy is buying for a girl, they tend to want to find a salesperson to make sure they're getting the right thing, wanting a female's opinion. Good point. So maybe the reason why, and so this is just a little bit of a tape delay, but what she's talking about is this divergence here in the graph between I only shop online it was the pose questions to store associates. That's right. So I would think that women would be more inclined to ask a salesperson, but they're saying men are more inclined to ask. So I think you're right, though, babe. I think it depends on what you're going to buy for. If a guy is trying to buy something for his wife or girlfriend or whoever, probably wants a lot of opinions. I don't want to get this wrong. I really don't want to get this wrong. Whereas women are kind of like, I'm buying more for fashion, so I'm just gonna, I know what looks good. I might get someone else's opinion, but I'm not seeking out and posing questions by the store associate. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, so again, rural shoppers, 71% say the reason they shop in stores versus online is to see, touch, feel, and try out items. And I think, again, this also might have a little bit to do with what are you buying. If you're in a rural area, and let's say you're a farmer, like, you might be going to figure out which Rainbird, sprinklers you're going to put on your irrigation. It's not the only one. There's others too, but like Rainbird's one of the more popular ones. But you're gonna have a very different set of things that you're wanting to buy versus in the urban areas. So yeah, they even break it down to urban, suburban, rural. And I only shop online is more suburban. Suburban is 9%, whereas 4% for rural, which is kind of weird. You could kind of understand why you might, if you were living in a rural area, you might think it would be better to shop online, because then I don't have to drive 20 miles to get to town, right? I can just order online and have it delivered. You might think that that'd be more convenient, but I think it's the mentality. Like, if you're in a rural area, you're already used to going, hopping in the truck and driving everywhere. That's kind of already what you do. So buying online, though it may seem like there might be a mentality there that they would be more inclined to buy online because I don't have to go anywhere that way. I think it's just kind of a mentality of the more rural people, is just kind of, I like to get in my truck and go places. Well, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and link to this in the description of this video. I managed to make it for 30 whole minutes talking about shopping. Can you believe that? It's amazing. I'm so proud. I'm going to applaud myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back. Kent says, town is the only real entertainment and social. Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. It's like, if you want to interact socially, you have to go in town, right? That's really the only places where you can go. So that's a great point, Kent. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you so much for joining me on Coffee with Steve. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I hope to see you again tomorrow at same time, 7:30 Pacific time. Don't forget, Fridays is going to be live Q&A. You guys get to ask me all the questions. You guys set the topic. So come to me with your questions. Be ready, be prepared, and I will tackle them. I will come after them. And I hope that you guys, again, I hope you have a great day. It's Wednesday. You got to make the best of what you got. And these Wednesdays, it can be tough, right? It can be really difficult to figure out how you're going to make it through the day, how you're going to make it through the week. Just remember, you got coffee as your friend. You got me as your friend. post up comments, ask me questions, watch some of my own videos. The coffee's your friend. All right, guys, take care. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one.